My friends, I know you have been waiting so patiently for me to do another refashion video, or as I like to call it, a garment renovation. And today is today. I want to take you into my sewing room and show you the sewing journey of how I took this 90s thrifted item, just waiting for a refashion really, into this 1930s inspired pinafore that I'm wearing right now. So come with me. This is a look behind the scenes, if you will, a look at my thought process as I go along doing this refashion, so you can really see my thought process and the journey and what goes on in my mind, so that it can help inspire your own refashions and hopefully so you can get better at your own sewing and create these for yourself. So let's rewind, go back to the start, and let me show you how it all started. My sewing friends, welcome back. It has been quite a while since we have done one of these videos, right? A refashion. I'm so excited. Perhaps we'll talk more about why so long a little bit later. But first of all, let's talk about the inspiration, because every great sewing creation starts with the idea and the inspiration. I like to plan out all my sewing makes starting with inspiration collections, and I turn them all into designs later. For this dress, I have in mind a pinafore. Something from the either teens, 20s, 30s kind of a look is what I'm thinking. I want it to be light enough that I can wear over some beautiful light blouses like this in summertime, and probably over the top of something a little bit heavier in winter. So what I'm thinking, I originally was thinking a round neck, but I want to go with more of a deep V-neck like this. A little bit fitted. I might put some pleats, darts to shape in the waist a little bit. I'll get to that when I sort of see the shape coming along, and low cut arms. Now I picked up this sort of, I think it's 90s dress. It is a straight sack from the thrift store. Actually quite a while ago. I picked it because it has a beautiful, it's a poly viscose linen blend, but it feels really quite nice and light. It's got a beautiful drape. I love the color. I love the actual like woven check in this is just all my style. I knew I could turn it into something a little bit 30s maybe. We'll see what the end style ends up being, but I was very inspired by this fabric, and I thought a little pinafore will be beautiful with this particular piece. I'm going to look at where I want my neckline to sit and get the right spot, and I think I'll cut that in first. And of course, just cut off the sleeves, but not cut in the shape yet, as I will take it in first to make any adjustments, and then I will cut that outer shape after I have an actual armhole, proper armhole shape to work with. I will also unpick and prepare this little side split, because I don't particularly want that little 90s side split there. It is a little bit tedious, as this is a really loose weave fabric, so I have to be particularly careful not to ruin everything with one single little thread being pulled. Hence why I'm not going to cut in my underarm shape until I get a handle of this, but I like it already. Yeah, okay, I've decided. I'm going to keep a low V that I would need to wear something underneath, and keep this thick-ish but not a full sleeve, and dip down maybe to points as well. I'll see when I get there. But I like this length. I'm going to cut out this neckline shape, and actually probably go ahead and finish off the neckline to begin with. I'm going to use a bias facing for this neckline. I prefer a bias facing over a regular facing a lot of the time. It feels very vintage to me, and it is the perfect solution for refashions when you don't have enough fabric to actually make a facing. Okay, except there is one major problem. As with refashioning, we always come into little issues along the way, and well, I think I best show you this one. Okay, 10 points for anyone in the comments below who can guess the problem already. Did Did you guess? Who guessed it, I wonder? Yeah, who noticed? These do not line up. Now at first I thought maybe I cut it wrong, but no, turns out that the entire thing is not, hasn't been pattern matched. If you have a look at the back here, this yoke, the center is, fortunately at least on this piece, is here. Look what they did with these pieces. Why would they do that? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have two options. I can leave it as is, or what I will have to do is, this is not quite aligned as you can see, so fortunately it's all too big. So I'm going to like undo the yoke from front and back, take it off, undo the sides, and then I'm going to readjust and rejig everything that, you know, like the whole pieces, and I'll put it back together in a way so all of the stripes match. Even the center here, so I was looking at this, and if I measure the distance between each stripes here is supposed to be 5.7. The distance, even when buttoned up between these, is 7.5 centimeters. So, I mean, that's not a major problem if it's just a bigger stripe down the center, except that it is not even. So this side here from the center where the buttonhole is to here is 3 centimeters, and the center on this side from where this goes to the buttonhole is, you know, 4.3. So these aren't even, so hence why I'm going to unpick the front as well and then rejig everything. I will also realign these buttons. I might just cheat, leave this as is, the buttonholes, because there's not much I can do about that, but I can move this button over so that it overlaps, and then this becomes at least a little bit more even each side, and then that will allow me to get my stripes even over the neckline each side rather than having this and this. So a nightmare. So the gremlins in my mind will absolutely not let me not match these up if I can. So if I can, I will, and I can, so I will match these stripes. This has turned into a full deconstruction process. I have now separated all of the pieces so I can sort of put them back together with matching stripes. It even turns out that the back yoke section here is actually cut on the different grain, probably the cross grain, as opposed to the actual like body of this garment. So the little like stripy stripes are actually going down here and they're going across here. So hence why none of this actually is going to align up properly. I can actually put this on so at least they line up here, but as they're all different widths, it's going to not be in the center. So see how this one is in the center here, but by here they're actually matching up. That's fine so long as it's uniform and it's all then like centered across the whole thing. I'm going to then sew this piece on here and then sew my the fronts back to the shoulder seams here, but I will be lining up, making sure to shift these so that they're even, of course, and now the stripes are matching, and then that will allow me to then fold it in half and create a new neckline shape with all of these pieces now in alignment. Once that new neckline and armhole shapes are created, I can then pin down and fit the side seams so I can start assembling this. I've decided I want this kind of loose and just like easy fit, very comfortable. So I'm going to just add in a few darts through here to shape it in at the waist, so I could wear a belt if I wanted, or I could probably not wear a belt as well, but still have fullness at my hips. I'm keeping them very aligned with the pleats so that it's just a straight like pleat as a dart, so not really a dart but a pleat, just to pull in and keep in line with the stripes that I've got going on, because we're matching all of the stripes here. And actually something that came up quite a lot recently in Vintage Sewing School in my community there is that with the members we're talking a lot about fit, and one of the questions is that I get asked a lot is, does a mannequin like help you with fit, or you know, what's my opinion? And I always suggest that whilst a mannequin is an aid for sewing, like right now this is helping me pin in these darts and see where they might fit, and they're tucks, not darts, and like it's an aid, it's helping me, but it's not a body double. No matter how much I've padded this up and make it to my body shape, it is not a body double, and so I will still try this on my body to actually see if all this pinning is correct. So a mannequin is an aid for sewing, not a body double. That is my opinion on the matter. After trying it on, I did decide that I think this is a little bit low where I put my underarm mark, so I'm going to mark it in a little higher and then add seam allowance and cut in this new armhole shape. And I also decided after trying it on that these, although they looked nice on the mannequin here, I did think that they were too close to each other, and so I'm actually going to move them and utilize this stripe that's one further away from the body. This is just two in the center. It doesn't look right, so I'm moving these darts as well. So it's all just like stay stitched. This is just pinned down the sides. I haven't finished any of the seams because I'm just testing it. What I need to do is just add a little bit more taking in through here to tighten this area. Let out a little bit through the hips. I think I've got it pinned in a bit too much, so I'm going to let a little bit more room, and then much better. This is what I intended. So this is just pinned up, it fits a lot smoother through here. I've actually sewn in these the pleats through here. I've made them little like basically dart seams tugs and continued up through here, so I've actually pinched in a little bit through this side and it's now sitting really nice and flat. I've let out these pins through here, so it's fitting really nice and comfortable. Now I'm all for like pretty one-off dresses that are all nice and tight, but I really am all for the everyday clothing, and I know that I will be wearing this every day because it looks great and feels comfortable. What's next? So the straps, so the side seams, finish them all. They will be hand felled, so I get a beautiful, nice, neat finish. Now, if you are interested in seam finishes, do see some of my other videos. All of the links to those will be down below. Of course, I'm going to use my Dutch Label Shop labels to put in this, because doesn't it just look oh so special when you actually have your name in the garments that you've worked so hard to sew and refashion yourself. So there is a link below if you're interested in getting these yourself. There's a link below to get a discount code to have your own made. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this split being so high at the center front, so I am going to use the 3 little shell buttons that were attached to the neckline that I cut off a little earlier. So I'm going to use those to create 3 new button holes, and then put these buttons on to close up that gap down there and hopefully cover my knees. And now we are really getting somewhere. So I've actually thought that I would be doing this bias facing on here so much earlier than now, but it seems like it's the very last step in this whole process. As we know, with refashioning, it always takes longer than anticipated, because that is the nature of refashioning. We make it up as we go along. I can say that it has been quite some time since I have made a refashion video, and the first real time that I have done one of these in this space. So I came up here you know, temporarily to be up here, which I thought would be for a few months, but turned out to be quite a lot longer, as you know, due to a few reasons. Coronavirus, I'm up here in the country, so it's much nicer being away from all the cities. And it's just turned out to be so nice that I will be staying here. And the other reason is that, well, I have been super duper busy building Vintage Sewing School. This year it has just grown so fast and so much, welcomed in so many new members. It has been phenomenal, far greater than I could ever have imagined. So that has kept me really busy, which is a good problem to have. So it hasn't left much time for sewing and these types of videos as well, because these take a very long time to do and to edit. So I do hope that you are enjoying this. It has been interesting to film, and I will work on how I do it more so we can do more of these. Now all I have to do for this one is, the bias facing has gone on. I'm going to actually hand stitch it on because, you know, why would we want to have some machine stitching when we can spend ages doing it by hand? It does give a nicer finish, and I'm all about those really nice finishes. So okay, I'm going to finish up those few last things. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and stick around after that, because then once I've worn it for a little bit, I always like to give you just some insights into what I might do differently next time, but we only ever know that until after it's all complete and we've worn it for a bit. So let's get on and let me show you how this actually turned out. So just what would I do differently? Well, there's always something, right? I really love how this one has turned out. It is exceptional. I love the insides. It was worth every hand-stitched felled seam, every hand stitch on my bias facing. It was definitely worth it. The fit is superb. It is just nice and loose but fitted. I didn't get any gaping around the front here. The things that I would change are these little back pleats here. I moved them down to sort of, you know, come past my waist, keeping in line with the checks, but I think the sweet spot is actually in between the checks. It could go just a little higher than it is currently. And there is one thing that I keep doing, and that is this. Right, it's missing pockets. I know, there is a little bit of fabric left, just enough, I think, to actually make a pocket. So future Evelyn will make, I think, a little pocket, but the only issue is that the it falls right where those pleats are, so I'll have to figure that one out. But I hope that following along in this has inspired you into what you can create yourself. And if you're really interested in learning how to do this yourself, then join me at vintagesewingschool.com. I have links down below where you can really learn how to do this yourself, as this is what we do there. So thank you so very much for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to share this if you know someone who needs a little inspiration too. Okay, my friends, thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, happy sewing.